If you're on a carnivore or ketogenic diet, you know that it's super important to be consuming a high amount of fat with each meal that you eat. There are a number of different fat sources that are good. My preferred source of fat is beef fat. That's the type of fat that I eat most of the time. Most of what I eat is beef with a little bit of lamb. And so what types of beef fat do I typically consume? The most common types of beef fat that I eat are beef fat trimmings and brisket fat. So where do I get either of those types of fat? So the brisket fat, that's easy. I buy briskets at the supermarket or get them from local ranchers or butchers. And usually they come with a lot of fat on them. So after I slow cook the brisket, I usually do it in the crock pot. Then that cooks the fat, and then I slice it off with a knife and keep the sliced fat pieces in a glass jar in the refrigerator. And when it comes time to eat, I'll take a number of those cooked fat slices and fry them up in the cast iron pan and get them nice and crispy. So that's one of the common types of fat that I eat. The other one is beef fat trimmings. I get those either from the local supermarket meat department or a local butcher. And so at either one, you call ahead of time, you ask them if they have beef fat trimmings. And at the supermarket, some supermarkets won't prepare fat trimmings for me or won't give or sell me fat trimmings. But other ones in my area here in Vegas do agree to do so. So I call ahead of time, ask them if they can put aside some of the fat trimmings, and then I pick them up that afternoon. And what are the fat trimmings? So those are the pieces of fat that are cut off, they're trimmed off from the different cuts of meat, the steaks and other cuts of meat that the butchers are preparing for the meat that goes on display on the shelves. And a lot of times they'll either give you the fat trimmings for free or sell them to you for a very cheap price. I've either gotten them for free or paid 50 cents or $1 a pound, both of which I'm more than happy to pay. Even $1 a pound is really cheap, in my opinion, for good beef fat. And then how I prepare the fat trimmings, so I also slice those into thin pieces, and same thing as the brisket fat that's been slow cooked. So I will fry those up. And I either will freeze the beef fat trimmings or keep them in the refrigerator, and then again slice them up and throw them in the cast iron pan, fry them about a minute or two on each side till they get browned and crisp up, and they're also delicious. So I usually eat either pieces of fat trimmings or brisket fat with whatever cut of meat that I'm eating. Most of the time I'll eat things like brisket, chuck roast, short ribs, oxtails, things like that. But even though most of those are fatty cuts of meat, I also add additional fat to the meat that I'm eating. As some of you may know, I'm on a very high fat carnivore diet, and I feel and function my best when I'm consuming really high amounts of fat. So those are the two best ways to obtain beef fat. And the nice thing is when you're preparing either slow cooking a brisket or frying up some beef fat trimmings, you'll also have some of the fat that will render out and become liquid in the pan. And so don't throw that away. You want to pour that also into glass containers and keep it in the fridge. And that will harden into tallow. It's kind of a off-white, white color, and that's the beef tallow, which you can then use to cook with, like the same way you would cook with butter. So everything that I sear, fry, cook in the cast iron pan is done in that beef tallow. You can buy beef tallow in the supermarket. It's kind of expensive and not really necessary. If you're slow cooking cuts of meat like briskets, chuck roast, ribs, short ribs, you're going to get a good amount of tallow. And if you eat those types of cuts on a regular basis, you're probably going to have more tallow than you'll be able to consume yourself. So yeah, I hope you found the video informative and useful. If you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you know a friend that you think could benefit from this information, go ahead and share the video with them. If you have any questions or comments, let me know in the comments section below. And if you want to be notified of upcoming videos that I put out, go ahead and click the subscribe button, and you have a good day. Thank you.